There's an age-old debate about aggression and whether it can be positive, both in its natural occurrence and also if it can be funneled into something positive. All right. Now, I think the answer to that question, as interesting as it is, from a social, political point of view, is moot. It's moot because either way you have a view of the situation, of one or two views of the situation. One, you're dealing with aggression as a force, a negative force, and you're seeking to minimize its impact. Or two, you think it is a force that can be negative or positive, and you're trying to funnel it in a positive direction. And either way, the answer is the same. In either situation, the solution is the same. You formalize aggression. So that's why you can hate somebody else, you can want to destroy them, you can have been wronged by them and have every justification thinking that, and go ahead and think that. And you can be aggressive. But you have to do that through the court system. You have to get the court system to make an injunction or to seize their property. You can impoverish them and all of the rest of this, but you have to do it through the court system, and then the aggression is mitigated. Now, the point of the court system, the first purpose is not that the answer is just. There will still be injustice. The first order of the justice system is simply to formalize it and create a certain amount of consistency and accountability thereby. Okay. At that point, you have to move on from that, and we're having trouble with that in our modern world. But after you have accountability, you do need to work on trying to improve the amount of justice actually produced by that system, that amount of just decisions. Okay, obviously you need to care about that. But the first purpose is to formalize it. Okay, now I think it's good to think that it can be put into a positive direction, so that as you formalize it such that energy goes in a positive direction. I think one of the reasons we're stuck in our justice system merely on the formalization and not on focusing on the justice is we figure, well, it's all a negative game, it's all loss anyway, so what are you going to do? You just try to catch people. But if you realize that criminals have the energy to do these crimes that take an amazing amount of adrenaline stuff, that energy can go somewhere productive. That's what I believe. And though socially I think the question is somewhat moot, answering, how should we create our social system, our justice system, I do think that as an individual, while the social question is really complex to answer, as an individual it's not so complex. Of course, you can put your aggressive feelings. If you, like me, have found that sometimes you have aggressive feelings, yes, you can put those in a positive direction. For example, into political activism. There's a lot of messed up people in political activism. They usually get a couple free chances to have peculiarities because at least they're putting their, like for example, often they're overly aggressive. You'll find them interpersonally aggressive. But at least they're putting some of their aggressive energy into political activism, and if it's in the right direction, that can have a good effect. And thank you very much for figuring out something productive to do with your aggression. And in general, a lot of crime we see induced by poverty. This is aggression that is really just energy. It could be expressed entirely as purely productive energy in terms of a negative kind of aggressive energy put productively. There are cathartic ways to address that, and psychological things that you can address. So I do believe that aggression can be put to a positive thing, and it becomes just energy and not even aggression. But there are certainly metaphors from aggression, and there's aggressive aspects, and there's things in life that require aggression, like political activism, where a certain modicum of reasonable aggression, non-violent, non-destructive, non-murderous aggression, could be tolerated and put into a productive use. All right, but either way, the answer is to formalize aggression. It's not that Greatex, for example, you get plenty aggressive. You are obviously not against aggression in general. People often think, well, I'm just going to become a pacifist. I'm against all aggression. It can't be sorted out. But they aren't. They're very aggressive. They're politically active often. And they're aggressive, but they say, well, but in a certain way. Right, they formalized their aggression. They formalized it so that certain ways are allowed, other ways aren't. Actions, which are all unique, get categorized as one way or another. These formalizations allow them to funnel their aggression. Nobody is non-aggressive in that sense. So